Hey guys, how's it going? It's Jay from Sony Alpha Lab, and what I got here is the Sony A6400, and what I have mounted to it is the fully manual 7 Artisans 55mm f1.4 lens. And basically this lens is fully manual, so the camera has, it doesn't even know that a lens is attached. That's why if you look here at the f-stop, even though I'm in aperture priority mode on the mode dial, it shows no f-stop there because it doesn't know. The camera has no electronics in it, so there's no communication back and forth. But the Sony cameras are so versatile and so powerful, they know, they have them set up so they know you have a lens attached. It'll auto expose and things like that. Now, as I mentioned in some of my recent articles on this lens, if you check out my website, I have the lab testing photos and I have some real world photos up on this lens. And this lens only goes for $119 US. So it's extremely affordable and it's very high quality considering it only cost $119. The build quality is excellent and so forth. But you might not even consider a lens like this because it's manual focus only. And I understand that if you're an autofocus shooter and you just don't want to bother with manual focus. But I think once I show you how easy it is to use manual focus with the Sony A6400 in particular, you're going to be like, wow, that's actually not that bad. Maybe I will consider getting a lens like this for the money because it really is a killer value for the dollar if you're willing to manual focus. Now, like I said, the Sony A6400 has a couple tools built in. So if you have the touch operation enabled, you have to make sure you have that enabled, and it is by default. I just want to show you this quick. If you go to the menu and you go to touch operation here, it's in setup 3, touch operation. And if you just hit the center button here on the dial, okay, and then you can use the navigation on the dial here to go up, down, left, right, like so. But if you just go to touch operation, make sure that's set to on, and then touch panel / pad, you want that set to touch panel plus pad, touch pad settings, and this is how it is at default, okay? Just in case you're wondering what all these settings need to be, this is how I have it set up. But again, this was how it was set up default. I did not change any of these options, but it's possible that with firmware updates and stuff, your options might be different by default. All right, so now knowing that, based on default, what we need to do here is focus on this bowl, all right, this glass bowl, and you can see the focus is changing. I'm just turning the focus ring on the lens right now, and you can see the focus is, going through its depth of field. And this lens is set to f1.4. So the depth of field is extremely narrow. So I want to make sure that I'm focused on that bull's eye there, for example, right? Like, or a flower or a bug or whatever's in front of you. So what you do on the Sony A6400, you can just double tap and it'll automatically focus magnify into the image for you. Then you can use this directional pad here to move around like so. And then if you hit the center button on the directional pad, it'll zoom in even more. See that? So it's giving you this huge magnified zoom. And now you can tweak your focus depth of field to exactly where you want it. Somewhere right around there. Looks pretty good. You can actually hit the center button again, go back out. And if you just double tap, it'll bring you back into a lesser zoom. Sometimes this is a little easier to get it where you want it, like right about there looks pretty good. And then you can basically just take the shot, like so. Now, depending on your lighting situation and whatnot, and if you're actually hand holding the camera versus it being on a tripod, I just wanted to show you a couple other settings really quick. If you hit your function menu, it's a button right here on the back, and you go to drive mode. If you click drive mode, you can set right here the camera to self-timer. So if you have a slower shutter speed, and you want the camera to be rock solid, you want your images to be as sharp as possible, set your self-timer here to like 2 seconds or so. And when you do that, you get this. So now, just in case the camera's moving a little bit with those slower shutter speeds, it's not really a concern for me right now because I'm at 1/80th of a second, but it's just, food for thought there depending on what you're doing. Now, in addition to that, if you are hand holding and you're trying to capture like a bug or something on a flower, for example, what I normally do is I set the continuous shooting mode to like middle, like so. And then what I'll do, because it's so difficult to hold the camera and, lock the focus on, I will hold the camera, get it as close as I possibly can using the viewfinder. And then what I'll do, I'll actually rock the camera. I'll actually just rock the camera like back and forth, you know, like, and try to, and then just hold rapid fire down, like boom, 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 like that. And I'll just go slightly back and forth, like, you know, in and out from whatever subject I'm shooting. And this is, you know, just to ensure that I have the subject sharp, because bugs are crawling around, they're moving, and it's really hard to, you know, just nail the focus. If the bug is not moving at all and the flower is not moving at all, like there's no wind or anything like that, then of course you can just take your time, you know, and so forth. But that's what I do for that. I will still use the magnify zoom, like so. I'll get it, you know, I'll nail it, but then now the wind factors in and the bug moving factors in, as well as the hand holding movement that you have as the user. Another tool that the A6400 has that I wanted to show you when it comes to using manual focus and making it easier. Let me just click on the menu, just hit the menu button right here. So here is page 13 on camera 1. And here's where your focus magnifier option is. And if you click that, it'll bring you into focus magnifier mode. So now I'm at, you know, 1, nothing. There's no magnification. But if you notice here, you got change magnification, return to center. And now you can just click and do it this way. So that's where it is in the menu, focus magnifier. Now a couple other options. You can also custom program this to a button, which I'm going to show you in a second. On the top of the camera, there's a C1 button. I have my C1 button custom programmed to this function, focus magnifier, so I don't have to go in the menu when I want to use it. All I have to do is hit the C1 button. But you can also just double tap the screen, so you have multiple options there. If you're using the viewfinder, it's a little bit easier sometimes to just use the C1 button as focus magnifier. Now you can change your time limit on the focus magnify time. You can make it a couple of seconds or no limit. I prefer the no limit. And then the initial focus magnification, you can set this to 5.9, which is a good feature sometimes if you're just, you know, you just want it to automatically zoom in. But I have it set to 1.0 because when I hit my custom button here, like so, it brings the box up, and I like being able to move the box around before it magnifies. If you have that set to 5, you know, if you have that set like this, 5.9 times, if I just hit the focus magnify, it automatically zooms in. And sometimes that's not good if you need to move the magnifier around. So I prefer having it set to 1.0 so there's no zoom when you initially enact this function. These are all on by default. Manual focus assist, that's if you're using a regular lens and you switch it to manual focus. When you turn the focus ring, the magnify zoom will automatically come on when you turn the focus ring when in manual focus on a, you know, regular electronic lens. That's what manual focus assist means. Now peaking settings, this is the other feature I wanted to show you. Peaking level I have off right now. I'm going to turn that on, and then peaking level I'll leave on medium, and I'll leave it on white for now for this demonstration, but you can change the level. So there's different amounts of focus peaking that'll show up. You'll see what I mean in a second. And the color, depending on what your subject is, you might want to change the color. If you're shooting something white, you're not going to want white, for example. If you're shooting something red, you're not going to want red, but white is a good place to start. And now let me show you what this looks like. Now, if you look closely, let me change my display mode here so it's a little bit less cluttered. All right, so now you see that white stuff showing up on the bull? That's focus peaking. It's letting you know where the depth of field is. All right, so if I scroll to the back of the scene, look at those figures on the top right. See how the focus peaking is there? It's showing you that sharpness. So then to double check it, you're going to want to double tap and focus magnify, like so. And just ensure that those eyes are there. And you can also see the focus peaking is just coming up as well. So now I know I got it on the eye. You can see there's like little white dots there flickering. And if you change the amount, it'll actually amplify that. So let me go to focus peaking, go to middle, let me go to high, and then go back. And now you can see there's more focus peaking coming up. See how there's more stuff there? And it's a little bit easier now when I'm zoomed in to see the eyes are sharp. Watch, I'll show you. See, it's out of focus now, so there's no white. And now look at the white coming in. See that? And it's showing you where the focus is. So this is another great tool when it's hard to tell exactly where the focus is. But with focus magnify, you often don't need it, but I find it is very useful in certain scenarios, and I wanted to make sure you guys were aware of the focus peaking function. But by default, I normally have it set to minimum. or middle like that, and then off. I don't really use it that much. I find it distracting, and with practice I've gotten a lot better at using manual focus, so I don't really need it that often, but occasionally I absolutely do still turn it on. Alright, so let me show you where the custom button is so I can show you how to customize this C1 button for Focus Magnify. So if we go to your menu here and you go over to camera 2 and then you go over to page 8. Alright, so we're in custom operation, page 8 of 9, and then you have custom key on the top there. See that? Just click that. And then you can see it shows you a picture of the camera and your custom buttons. It's referring to this one right here. But if you go to the right, you can see there's little boxes on the bottom. Just go to your right and it'll go to the different buttons. Now it's showing you the top button, which is up here by the shutter to the right. You could see it right there in the little image. And that is custom button 1. So if you just click the center button here, it'll bring you in, and you just need to navigate to whatever button you want to program that with. In this case, I want it set to Focus Magnifier. So that is on page 13 of 25. So you just enable that. And now all you have to do is hit the C1 button and it'll remember where you were last time. So let me zoom in. It's on the top right of the screen. And you can just touch the screen to get it where you want. You don't have to use this navigation dial. The touch operation really made this much easier. But if you're using a different Sony camera and it doesn't have touch operation, you just navigate around with this control wheel. It's not a big deal. But with touch, it makes it much easier. So let's look at this box back there. And then I'm just going to click the magnification again to zoom in so I can get the focus right there. Excellent. So right about there. I'm going to zoom in again and get a closer look. See the puzzle piece right about there, looks good. And you can also hit the center wheel button here and it'll come out and then you can take your shot like so. So that is pretty much it for manual focus using fully manual lenses like the 7 Artisans 55mm f1.4 lens, but it's not limited to that. You can obviously put any manual focus lens on here or use any autofocus lens in manual focus mode and get the advantage of all these features. Sometimes the lenses just won't focus, the camera won't focus for some weird reason. Switch it over to manual and then you can use these tools. You know, it's very, very handy for macro work in particular if you're doing macro photography. So I really hope you guys got something out of this video. Please be sure to check out my website. Please give me a big thumbs up below the video. I highly appreciate that. And also be sure to subscribe, I also have the 7 Artisans lens guide on my website where I'll give you all the links. It'll show you all the different available lenses from this company, and like I said, they're unbelievably affordable. The build quality is excellent. They feel like little metal bricks. They're not crazy heavy, but they're really well built. Most of them are optimized for the crop factor cameras like the A6400, but they do make one for the full frame E-mount cameras as well. This one is specifically for the crop factor Sony cameras, but it'll also work on Micro Four Thirds systems as well. Be sure to check out the real-world sample photos, the lab testing sample photos with this lens, and also my Sony A6400 review. And if you have any requests on tutorials for the A6400, be sure to let me know in the comment area below. And also, let me know what you think. Do you guys use this feature? Do you like using the manual focus lenses on the A6400? If so, tell me what your favorite manual focus lens is. I'd love to know because I really enjoy them, and I have a few of them that I like to use. So, all right, guys, I'll catch up with you next time. Please have a great day. Take care.